NXT TAKEOVER 31 is in the books. Exactly how I thought it would be. It was a good takeover, not a great takeover, but I would say that this did everything it needed to do. This is a transitional period for NXT, and they were building towards the future. It is quite clear throughout this show that they are looking to build the new stars, and I think that with this takeover, although I say it's a good takeover, not a great takeover, we will be looking back at this takeover in 1 year to 2 years from now and remembering some of the stars that were built throughout this show. So that's my overall review for you there, but I'm going to dissect the show for you now piece by piece. If you want to know how I felt about everything individually, do stick around. We had lots going on in this takeover with the brand new Capital Wrestling Center, which I'll go more into in a minute. We had surprise attacks. We had new faces in and around the main event scene. We had returns, a return even from the main roster coming down after a long-term injury. So we had so much going on here. In fact, we've even got a former WCW pay-per-view coming to NXT at the end of this month in Halloween Havoc. So much happened here. And let's dissect everything then piece by piece. So let's start with the original, the CWC, the Capital Wrestling Center, which of course was actually first put on Twitter I saw about half an hour before the show, and it really gave this arena a real fight feel I really liked. I love the fact that we have the ring still in the Performance Center, but we have the plexiglass, and we have this sort of like cage fencing around the inside of the plexiglass, giving us that feel of almost as if it's being caged up, as if we had Raw Underground. This is how it should have looked. This is, this is how really it feels. It feels dark, it feels dingy, it feels like a real fight feel in a wrestling ring surrounded by this cage feel. We had the NXT superstars, I'm guessing, that were there around the plexiglass making the noise, and we had the Zoom screens going. Yes, it was like being in the Amway Center. We had loads of people on the Zoom screens looking and seeing the action take place as it happens. NXT finally has what they've been missing the most, and that's their fan base watching this show. So that was great to see there. The commentators, well, interesting to say, but of course Vic Joseph was there present with two random shadows sitting next to him with headsets on, which was very visible throughout the show that it was not Beth Phoenix or Wade Barrett who were doing commentary on Zoom. And I must admit, I did find it comical, so that I will say. But we come into the show then, and the first match that we had of the evening was the North American Championship. Damian Priest against Johnny Gargano. Johnny Gargano doesn't have a bad match, does he? There seems to be never an occasion where you think, well, that match was bad. These two had a very solid opener. It was a slow and steady start. Johnny Gargano was working on Damian Priest's leg throughout the match. There was a moment where Priest was knocked into the steel steps, and it knocked the top of the steps flying off, and the other steps were kind of put in a perfect place where you knew they were going to be used later in the match. And this was kind of teased as we went towards the end, where we kind of had that frantic finish with the near falls. It felt like that we were trying to see a moment where Gargano was going to try and knock Priest from the apron to these steps, but it didn't kind of work out that way in the end. Priest was managed to find his way back into the ring. It looked to be a moment as well where Gargano was still trying to find his way on top, but he went to try and do his patented finisher at the end, where he's on the outside, springboarding himself into the ring to hit a DDT. He was caught in doing so, and of course then he was laid onto in between the ring ropes, and Damian Priest managed to hit his finisher to give the 1-2-3, which is a big breakout moment in my opinion. If the last takeover Priest had a big win, winning the North American Championship, but this takeover, defeating Johnny Gargano clean 1-2-3, is no easy feat. It's not something everybody does here. This puts over Damian Priest in a big way, and my feeling is that he's going to be going from strength to strength as North American Champion for months to come. Next, we have the Velveteen Dream against Kushida. I really liked the way that this match was put together, because of the fact that the Velveteen Dream come into the ring, and before we could even get this match underway, he was attacked from Kushida from behind. Kushida had a new sort of look, dressed in denim jeans. It was a very sort of street fight feel from him, a very aggressive Kushida. He wasn't taking any nonsense, and even though this match was quite back and forth, a lot of damage was being done on Velveteen Dream's left arm, and it kind of come to the point where in the end you just saw that aggressiveness take over. Every time the Dream would be on top, he couldn't take advantage of it because he was literally in so much pain with his left arm. There was multiple times where the ring post was used from Kushida. I just loved it. It was a real aggressive streak. This is a Kushida I could get behind it. It felt like this was a takeover. You needed to make sure that Kushida, if you were going to put him in here, it's his first takeover, he needs to go over strong, because Kushida, for me, he's been in NXT for 18 months. He's not really lived up to the hype that they really built upon him at this point. And I've seen his work before NXT, and I know that there's a start in there. And I think that what we've seen tonight, I think really is the start of a birth of a bright future for Kushida going forward. He picked up the victory with a hammerlock, which was used multiple times, it felt, but in the end there just was one time too many, and the Velveteen Dream had to scream, tapping out in so much agony after the match. Kushida didn't seem satisfied, which is what I really like as well, a vicious streak there. He went back to apply the hold more than one occasion, where loads of officials having to pull him off and get him away from the ringside area. Kushida looked so dominant here, and the fact as well that Velveteen Dream isn't the most popular guy right now. If you want to get Kushida over, a dominant win on TakeOver, destroying Dream after the match, this aggressive streak as well, I think that Kushida might have just had a breakthrough performance tonight. I think that we really could be seeing a bright future going forward for him, whether he goes for perhaps the North American Championship, maybe even the Cruiserweight Championship. He may still be in his sights, but either way, Kushida, I'm hoping that we're going to see him on many more TakeOvers to come. Next was the announcement of NXT's Halloween Havoc coming on the 28th of October. Going to be hosted by Shotzi Blackheart. I'm really excited for this. I've done a previous video on this already. I'm looking forward to what the set's going to look like. Will the pumpkins be there? Will we have tombstones? What's going to happen with this? The matches, it's obviously going to oppose AEW's Dynamite. I'm expecting that week is probably going to be an NXT victory, because, I mean, we've not had Halloween Havoc for 20 years, so I'm really excited to see it come back, and I know that for that week for sure, I will definitely be checking out NXT. I can't wait to see what they can have on offer there. Next was Santos Escobar defending the Cruiserweight Championship. He was defending it against Isaiah Swerve Scott. A decent match between these two. It was a really good match, but I did feel that I was least connected with this match throughout the night, mainly because of the fact that the interference coming in from the other members of the Legado del Fantasma, of course, Joaquin Wilde and Raul Mendoza wanting to get involved in the match. We then did get Ashante the Adonis, who I must admit I've not seen so much of previously, making the save here, helping out Isaiah to make sure that we got rid of Wilde and Mendoza from ringside. I'm guessing that he's been featured quite heavily on 205 Live, something that I must admit I haven't been watching so much in the last 12 months or so, but that was enough to get him away from ringside. Swerve looked like he was going to be on top. He looked like he was going to become the Cruiserweight Champion, hit a lovely 450 splash, but it was a moment these two had a bit of a botched finish, unfortunately. Escobar managed to sort of escape what was in a German suplex position on the hardest part of the ring, on the outside on the ring apron. Looked to almost push Swerve back. Swerve was meant to have hit his head against the ring post, but he felt a bit short for this to kind of really sell it, in my opinion. But this did lead to Escobar to bring Swerve back into ring to hit his finisher, to hit the 1, 2, 3. And for me, it was the right decision here that Escobar remains champion at this point. Like I said, I would like to see Escobar versus Kushida at the following takeover, but I think these two have had a real spotlight put on them on this takeover, and definitely him and Swerve have really broke out in this match, and Kushida as well. It certainly looks bright ahead for the future stars of NXT. Next, we had a match that I was really looking forward to: Io Shirai against Candice LeRae for the NXT Women's Championship. A really solid match between these two ladies. I would say not as good as their TakeOver Toronto match that they had previously, but I still think that this was a fun match put together. Candice LeRae was managing to get the upper hand, but of course once it seemed that Io Shirai was going to find herself back in the pole position, there was a great little spot where the referee was kind of knocked out of the ring by these two. Johnny Gargano come down as trying to make himself the new referee to try and help Candice LeRae, who had taken over at this point and had landed her finishing move, but it wasn't enough to get the free count. And what I really like, the fact is the referee managed to come in at this point, because Gargano had managed to go outside, get the NXT Women's Championship. Almost I felt like he wanted to declare Candice the champion, but I'm guessing this was for the belt spot, which of course we still got because the referee was distracted by Gargano. The belt spot was hit there on Io Shirai. It looked like that maybe we were going to get a new champion. Io Shirai managed to kick out. This was a point where then Gargano was kind of a bit shocked on the outside, couldn't believe what was going on. Io Shirai managed to get back into things, hit a Spanish fly, and then immediately go into the top rope and hit a moonsault for the 1, 2, 3. A very fun match. I enjoyed this one, even though you didn't really need the ref spot in this match, but I thought it was a fun way to get Johnny Gargano involved here. And yeah, for me, I just really enjoyed the way that this was done overall. I thought that this was a solid match between these two, and it'll be interesting to see now what they're going to do with Candice LeRae and Johnny Gargano with the WWE draft coming next week, because both had championship matches and both lost them. What will their role be in NXT going forward, or are they moving to Raw or SmackDown? An interesting twist as well, thinking of this now, when you think of the women's division, and if one or two ladies could be about to leave NXT, of course, with the upcoming draft, we had not one but two returning ladies. Coming up, taking over the Zoom screens, was Toni Storm, and it felt like a very serious Toni Storm, not the babyface Toni Storm that we've been used to in NXT UK. This really feels like, yes, we've got the former Mae Young Classic winner here, and she is going to dominate this time. She wants it to be Toni time, and it feels like almost a serious, almost dare I say, a heel side of Toni Storm, which I'm really intrigued to see. And I think Toni Storm has got the tools to carry the women's division in WWE, let alone NXT. So I'm really excited to see that she's no longer in NXT UK. She's finally going to be in NXT, and finally going to be able to showcase her talents each and every Wednesday evening with some of the best women in the world. But she was not the only one. Once the screen went off, we finally got what we've been seeing these videos on NXT the last couple of weeks. Of course, a sort of green screen, the motorcycle driving around the PC for that person then to come into the arena. There had been speculation of multiple people it could have been. I did predict it would be Ember Moon, and that is who it proved to be. I must admit, I popped out of my seat seeing her return. She's been out for a long time with injury. It's great to see her back. You see a big smile, an evil smile on the face, and she looks pleased to be back in NXT. You can see it in her face. That was a special moment for her, and I think it's a special moment for many fans here. I'm a big Ember Moon fan. I think she's got a lot to offer, and I think right now NXT is the perfect place for her. I don't see her in the championship picture on Raw or SmackDown. I think she can, re-establish herself as that top women in NXT, and she's got great matches there. Like we say, Toni Storm has come in the picture. Io Shirai is there. We've got Candice LeRae. Remember, Tegan Nox is now out injured, but we've got Shotzi Blackheart. We've got Dakota Kai, Raquel Gonzalez, Rhea Ripley. There's so many women there. There's going to be so many dream matches that we could get to see, but I'm sure one or two of these are going to be moving to Raw or SmackDown come Friday and Monday this coming week, which I will predict now. I think Rhea Ripley is definitely one of them. Last but not least, definitely my match of the evening has to be the NXT Championship. Finn Balor, of course, against Kyle O'Reilly. I just love the story between these two. Of course, they're going in. Kyle O'Reilly's always been the underdog going in on this one. Can he live up to the hype? Can he get into the main event? Can he become the champion? He's always wanting to face Finn Balor. He's always been one step behind Balor on his journey, which has been always fun to see. And these two, it was almost like a game of chess at the start with these two in ring action. The one-upsmanship, who could establish dominance. Finn Balor managed to get that dominance. It felt like a real kick to the stomach. It felt like it was almost legit the way it was sold. It was sold so well to the point you think that had to be real. But Finn Balor then dominated. It felt 90% of the match here. I love the fact that Finn Balor was putting the smack talk in there as well, more or less saying, look, I do this every night. This is your first time in the main event. This is what I do each and every night. There was a point, of course, Kyle O'Reilly did come back into the match. I love the dragon screws. I love the submission-based style wrestling that Kyle O'Reilly brought here. Very technical as well. This was almost just perfectly done as a storytell throughout the match. Kyle O'Reilly, for me, did a great job here coming back in, but of course Finn Balor always finding a way to get himself back on top, and with the coup de grace, surprisingly picked up the victory. I think Finn Balor recently has been using a different finisher, but here the coup de grace, almost classic Finn. And I always say that for me, it's Finn Takeover. Literally, Finn Balor has got such a great record on Takeover. He does always great matches as well, and it's great to see that Finn Balor is established as the NXT champion. Not only has he won the belt again, he's established himself as the top guy once again in NXT. Kyle O'Reilly, nothing to be ashamed of. Definitely a breakout performance, a great match between the two of them. I don't think it's the last we'll see with Kyle O'Reilly in the main event picture in NXT. Eventually, at the end, the show of respect was there as well, which was really great to see the handshake between these two. And just as we thought we were going off air, the big shock there, Ridge Holland coming out with Adam Cole. Now, of course, one little note that I've not mentioned before the main event, we actually saw that Kyle O'Reilly was with the entire of the the Undisputed Era, and they were all giving him hugs and handshakes going, you can go and do it out there. And of course, we saw Finn Balor on his entrance to the ring. So what happened here? Ridge Holland brought a beaten and broken down Adam Cole. He clearly had destroyed him in the back, presenting Adam Cole if he was like a trophy almost. It's probably your pets is bringing you a present. You're the owner, and it just kind of felt a bit like that. It's just like, there you go. Fish and Strong did run out and almost screaming like, what happened here? What happened here? Which was very interesting as well, that Adam Cole obviously needed medical attention. They seemed very concerned, but almost to the point where you kind of feel, where were you guys? Why was Adam Cole taken out? All of you were together. Did you leave Cole on his own? This really puts the first seeds in now of a tease of a breakup with the UE. And it'd be interesting to see what is going to happen going forward now. Because, of course, this easily makes Ridge Holland seem, like he's going to be a top heel. There's been rumours that he's going to get a big push in NXT. Well, a match of Adam Cole really feels like that's going to be standout, and that's going to be something that's really going to put Ridge Holland on the map. As well as that as well, is this going to be the breakup with Undisputed Era? I mean, if Strong and Fish are going to be heels, are they in on the attack? That's something that's going to be interesting to look out for. Or is it simply that they just were out of bounds where this happened? But still, I think the cracks may start to appear here. But the WWE draft, of course, is coming Friday and Monday. Will the Undisputed Era receive the call to go into Raw or SmackDown together? If they do, they need to remain united. But of course, if they are going to remain in NXT, I think it's time for them to start with the breakup personally. But I really like the idea of what's coming out of this show. Like I say, so many people come out almost with breakout performances, almost star making for the future. Damian Priest, Kushida. You look at the likes there of Santos Escobar, Isaiah Swerve Scott. Io Shirai, of course, is always going to be a standout there. And of course, it's great to see Candice LeRae get herself, a takeover championship match. We've seen Toni Storm return, Ember Moon has returned, and Kyle O'Reilly in the main event. And not to mention as well, Ridge Holland as well, having a breakout moment there, obviously destroying Adam Cole in the back. So this is all about building for the future. And like I say, for that, this NXT will be memorable in about a year's time. Tonight, I turn around and say to you, this was a good show. This is a solid 7 out of 10 show NXT has put on for you this evening. Is it going to be one of the top takeovers of all time? No, it's not. But I tell you what, this is building for the future. And when we look at it in time, this is going to be seen as a great takeover. And we're going to look back and go, this is where a lot of people originally made their names. But that's all from me anyway. Thank you for watching this review. Hope you've enjoyed it. Let me know your thoughts of NXT TakeOver 31 in the comments below. It's very late where I am, so I'm going to get some sleep. And I'll see you with the Raw preview tomorrow. Take care. Have a good night. Please share with a friend, subscribe, and have yourselves a good one.